Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Diablo 4 video. This time around it's my newly built Infinite Fury Double Swing Dust Devil Proc Barb. What a name. Since I just recently found all the required pieces to make this work without a basic skill at all, it was important for me to speed farm the pit tier 61 or preferably higher for the highest materials to upgrade my items in the first place. So this build works with absolute dog tier items, which is only a good sign, and I would argue with enough gold and or time investment this can easily clear up to a tier 120-ish. Feel free to make use of the timestamps to skip around the video, and I see you after the run. Yo, let's talk about the gear here for a brief second. I'm running the Tusk helm because it's insane damage output, and I finally can make use of this helm. I wanted to play this since I saw it in the spoiler in the patch notes. And yeah, perfect helm for the build. Absolutely best in slot. The chest piece here, I'm running the Iron Warrior. So Iron Skin grants unstoppable. And really, really nice. Some people like the Undying here for the heal. My source of healing is like the tactical iron skin from the Skilltree. The gloves, very important here as attack speed and accelerating for even more attack speed for the dust devil, for that double swing, excuse me. Yeah, the faster we can hit with double swing, the more damage output of course, and the more dust devil procs and so on. Tibaults will. This build is literally, this barb is unstoppable, okay? You cannot have more unstoppable uptime than 100%, this has 100%, hence it always brings this damage, so really, really good. The boots here, the End's Blessing. These boots are nuts for the build, so good. Like already the chance to restore a primary resource. Like this alone on the boots is GG. Yeah, and they proc shouts. Ends. When a shout is up, I have Fury Regeneration. A shout proc Dust Devil, so the boots are nuts. Boots are nuts. They are not even 925 yet. The weapon here, I would say the most important one is the Dust Devil damage tempering, because it scales ridiculously on a two-hand weapon here. And of course for the aspect, double swing can proc Dust Devils. which deal 4k damage, which get multiplied by the Twisted Glyph. More about that in the Paragonboard. I'm running a sword and a mace. I think this is the go-to combo for double swing here. And the reason is, like, first of all, this obviously adds a lot of damage to double swing. It sounds a little bit weird when reading the aspect, because it says I lose fury per second, but it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. Like there's so much resource generation and fury on kill, fury on crit, things like this. So you don't feel that you are losing 2 fury per second. And the mace is there. First of all, I have Inner Calm here, one of the best multipliers. Especially nice against bosses. Against regular monsters, you don't even need this. They just get one tapped. But the mace is important, or the stun. More about that in a Skilltree in a second. I think it's super important to have some sort of crowd control built in the build, especially for the pit. Like, think about it, right? It doesn't matter if it's a pit 50 or a pit 150. If the mob is stunned, it's they are AFK and they just get slaughtered. So I'm using Grandfather here because, hey, why not? Okay, it's uber unique. Let's play the uber unique. The effect is really strong for double swing, of course. Crit damage, GG. For the people who don't have a Grandfather, I would honestly go with Edgemaster here. You could give Edgemaster a try, which is one of the best multipliers in the entire game by now, or always been good, rather. Yeah, like the resource generation is so crazy. It might be worth running Edgemaster here. The jewelry here, very important. Let's talk about the temperings first. The important one is Lucky Hit has up to a 5% chance to restore primary resource. I have that on both. Some of my other items have that as well, like the sword has it, the boots has that. So why is it so important when I generate fury all the time, when shouts are up and so on? This is especially important against bosses, right? Where things like fury on kill don't do much. So that's where those temperings come in. Very important. And also, one ring, at least one source of the gear, prefer, I think it's the easiest on the ring, should say there's a chance to make them vulnerable. This 40.8% chance is my only source of vulnerable in the build, and it's absolutely sufficient. That's all I need in order to make this work at all. The aspects here are Bold Chieftain, so the shouts reset themselves, and the other one makes it so when a shout is up, I get a crazy amount of primary resource per second. I have Fierce Winds on the amulet here. I've been running this the entire season in several setups by now. Like, it's crazy damage output when you think about it. Like, best case scenario, I press 3 shouts at once. And therefore, like, I proc 9 dust devils, which gets scaled up by crit damage. Oh, this can overpower. I have the Twisted Glyph in the Paragonboard, so really nice. And I get the best value out of it when printing it on the amulet. Yep, that's for the gear. Maybe the stats real quick. Like, as you can see, I have around 80k life. That's not too bad for a double swing setup with not even upgraded gear. I'm armor capped. In order to armor capped build, I needed 1 armor roll, and I have armor and percent on the amulet. When I wasn't armor capped, I rolled the Juggernaut aspect on the chest piece. Yeah, of course, it's overkill, but in a build in progress scenario or while leveling or whatever, Juggernaut is just so good. You slap Juggernaut somewhere and you don't have to worry. You are most definitely armor capped, you know. That's what I did before I had like the better gear. That's it for the gear and aspects. As the weapon expertise here, I finally found a way to not run the 2-hand X expertise. Instead, I'm running the 1-hand Mace expertise, because it's just a 20x multiplier, a 20x damage multiplier against stunned enemies, and they are not stunned all the time, but let's say you encounter a nasty elite pack which needs like more than one double swing in order to die, it will proc. Okay, they will be stunned at a certain point, and then boom, you have a 20x multiplier right there. And also there's a chance to gain berserking. Really a lot of value. A lot of value for just running one mace here. Like from the expertise and from the skill tree, which we're gonna talk about next. So 1 point in anything here, doesn't matter. I will never ever use a basic skill. Just here to unlock the core skill. I maxed out double swing into furious double swing to have 100% uptime of berserking. Really, really nice. Yeah, and it just hits like a truck. I think, like after playing Barb, especially in season 4 now, for a while, compared to all the other abilities, this needs the least amount of gear in order to do damage. You see what I'm saying? Like even without any... I don't have any specific aspects other than the Dust Devil proc on the gear. And yeah, it deals crazy damage as it is. Moving on to the passives here, of course. Get tanky, tanky, tanky. I have 1 point in the Rallying Cry into Strategic Rallying Cry to get a nice fortify. My favorite bar ability, Iron Skin. As I mentioned, my source of healing is Tactical Iron Skin, and I get another source of Unstoppable and Barrier as a cherry on top. 1 point in Outburst, unlock Toughest Nails in order to proc Blood Rage from the Paragonboard. 1 point Challenge Shout into Tactical Challenge Shout, generates even more fury. 1 into Warcry into Power Warcry. This is only good for like speed farming content. It's of course not as great anymore against bosses because it says it needs to have 6 enemies nearby. Maxing out Booming Voice to like so I can benefit of the shouts all the time. Like the uptime, there's always some sort of buff going on. Like that's what I like about the build most. Maxing Aggressive Resistance and Prolific Fury. There's more skills here because of the Tusk Helm. 3 into 3 Pit Fighter, because damage to close enemies is one of the strongest multipliers in the game. 1 into Thick Skin in order to unlock counter offensive. Maxing Duelist, because I hit with 2 one-handed weapons. And yeah, the more attack speed, the better for the build. And this, what it makes all this work at all, and that's how it works in the pit and so on. So Wallop says it's just a 15x multiplier against stunned or vulnerable, very important. Like the stunned part is a little bit too conditional if you ask me. But yeah, they are always vulnerable. Thanks to the lucky hit thingy on the ring, mobs are always vulnerable, it procs all the time. And this is probably the most important note within this whole skill tree, Concusion. For in my case now, it says only, quotes only, 50% chance to stun them. When I use a mace, that's why I use the mace, right? And yeah, like crowd control is really important in the pit. Like it does, if you think about it, right? It doesn't matter if it's a pit. It doesn't matter if it's a pit 50 or a pit 150. If the elite pack is stunned, they just stand there. It's a target dummy. This turns every elite pack into a target dummy. The ultimate here is Wrath of the Berserker. This is so good. The damage output is just insane, especially with the helm. The moment you press this, you do not only get all the benefits from the ult itself, but all of a sudden you are in this berserk form, thanks to the helm, right? Which makes bosses just disappear, elite packs just disappear. It's good. And as the keystone passive, I use Unconstrained, because that's, yeah, I think that's the only keystone passive that makes sense with the setup. The Paragonboard, I'm running 6 glyphs. Let's start with the first one here. I have Exploit here for the vulnerable damage. I think vulnerable damage is still pretty good. The first board or the second board, depends on how you want to look at it, is Warbringer. And I have the Territorial glyph here, and I snacked a little bit alive. The next one is Carnage. Really good for the build while berserking. This build is always berserking. Critical strikes increase attack speed. The more attack speed, the better. The glyph here is Ire. Huge chunk of damage. and some DR from Elite. And I went down here just to grab another glyph socket. And yeah, the glyph here is seething. That's really, really important here. Like, first of all, it's a nice damage boost with swords. One of my weapons with double swing is a sword, right? The legendary. And the important part, while wielding a sword, you gain 5 Fury when killing an enemy. So I just more Truth this dungeon, or Truth the Pit, or whatever content. And I'm topped on Fury all the time, thanks to this glyph here. Really, really, really nice. Of course, it's like the Fury effect is useless against bosses. But yeah. The next one here is Blood Rage. As I mentioned in the skill tree, this gets procced by 1 point into toughest nails. So really, really cool. Just to have strong damage multiplier here. The glyph I'm running here is Martial. So shouts basically reset the ultimate. So I can use Wrath of the Berserker more frequently to proc the helm more often and so on. It's a well-rounded setup. It works really well together. The next one here is Decimator with the Twisted Glyph. It's tempting to max all the nodes, which I did in previous setups, but it's more about the 13x multiplier. I get a 13x multiplier after creating a Dust Devil. This build is just spamming Dust Devils, so this is up all the time. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I just wanted to share my new Barb setup. Yeah, as I mentioned, I just recently built this up and got it up and running. So I thought I shared real quick. Maybe the build idea itself helps someone. Yeah, thanks for watching and let me know what you think. Later.